What's up, guys, and Happy New Year! Welcome back to Music Man Dan.
What's up, guys? It's Media Man Dan.
What's up, Wolfpack, and welcome back to Media Man Dan.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Media Man Dan. What's up, guys? It's Media Man Dan 2020 here. The stupid stick fault. What's up, guys? My name is Music Man Dan. Press the record button and then you're good to go.
Hey, how's it going?
And look how great that chin make. Oh shit. I'm gonna put on a hat, make myself feel better. There you go. I am Skinny Dan.
And I am Matt's.
What's up, guys? It's Media Man Dan, here to give you an awesome review with actual volume this time, so you don't have to hit it all the way up on the dial in your car or whatever you're listening to it on. Anyway, this is the worst movie. No, I'm just kidding. This is the top 10 worst movies that I'm doing, one at a time, and since I don't know how to edit anything, I have to write it down on a whiteboard. That is how you start up a YouTube career the right way. So let's start off with Skyscraper. It's a movie that really should not exist because it's a movie that's already been done before. You might be asking yourself, no, Dan, there's no way that I've ever seen a movie called Skyscraper before. Oh, I promise, you never have, but at the same time, you have seen a movie that's basically the exact same thing. There we go. Die Hard, not the fourth or the third or the second. But Die Hard, the first movie, one of the best action movies from the 80s, is completely redone the wrong way in Skyscraper. One, they have a terrible cast member to play the main character because The Rock, out of all people, cannot be vulnerable. And they make him unvulnerable the entire time, even though he has like a leg that has like this weird brace on it to make it seem like he's some kind of handicap. He's not. He's not a victim of anything. The dude is huge. He's ripped. There's no way that you can look at this guy and be like, oh man, I wouldn't want to be Dwayne Johnson. It seems so hard. Yeah, no, that's bullshit. Just please avoid this movie. Don't give any more money to it. I had to watch it on DVD because it was on my list of movies that I wanted to see, just to see if it was going to be crappy. And I had no idea how relative it would be to Die Hard. This is like really a crazy movie that's the exact same thing as Die Hard. There's some terrorist inside of a giant building, and all of the people are stuck inside the building, and there's only one character that has to get through this, and he does impossible things, and he survives all the way up to the top of the tower that he is able to kill the enemy at the end of the movie. Spoiler alert, but you've already seen this shit before! Alright, that's Skyscraper, everybody. So our second worst movie of 2018 goes to this glorious masterpiece. Bruce Willis, as the main character in Die Hard, was an awesome action actor in the 80s. Then he did this shit. This movie, another movie that shouldn't have been made, is a complete remake, but at least it knows it's a remake because it called itself Death Wish. But, I mean, if you want to get anywhere close to Charles Bronson, you actually have to have charisma, you have to have excitement, and you don't have to have Bruce Willis using a pistol for the first time, you know, the action star using a pistol for the first time in a movie, and getting his hand stuck in the clip so that his hand gets cut right here, after his family gets killed and his daughter almost gets raped because they wanted to have the rapey vibe that they had from the original 70s version. But honestly, they never went for the hard R on this. There's violence in it, but you could see the same shit in like Equalizer. Actually, it's darker and better in Equalizer. The direction is terrible. Everything's filmed in Chicago, and being from the Chicagoland area, it's offensive to see bad movies made there. It's just please stop doing that to us. There's good things in Chicago, except for the crime, the horrible things that happen every day on the news. But there's great things for movies to show. Like, look at how great that subway scene was in Spider-Man 2. Everybody thinks, oh, it's all filmed in New York. No, no, no. That entire scene was on the CTA in Chicago. Pretty awesome. By the way, CTA stands for Chicago Transit Authority. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. So, this movie, Death Wish, it's just a mockery of everything that the original stood on. The action, the adrenaline. It was basically like if you took Dirty Harry and you had like an okay action actor and they just barely did anything in the movie. And I mean, even though it wasn't as like action packed as Die Hard, the original Dirty Harry, or the original Death Wish, it still came with something that was important to the story, and there was revenge that needed to happen, and he was standing up for an entire city and standing up for all the innocent people that were getting killed on a daily. And this one, he's just like, I got a gun, I need to have a gun. And as everybody said, there was a big controversy with the gun rights, and oh, it shouldn't be around right now because of all the sensitivity that's going on through the PC world, where we just don't want to have guns around. And I could care less about that stuff. All I'm thinking about when I'm watching a movie is how the movie is, how the character is, and if the acting was actually decent enough to make you enjoy it and lose yourself into the film. Lose Yourself by Eminem. Haha, just kidding, I'm not going to put that in there. Anyway, let's go on to the next one, because this one just gets me rattled, and I don't know. I just don't know. They could have done anything else, and they choose these stupid remakes. So many remakes. This year, in 2019, we're going to be looking at like, I don't know, like 17 sequels or something. Weird. Anyway, yeah, I'm still using the whiteboard because, you know, that's what you gotta do sometimes. This movie is not necessarily a bad movie. What it is it's something that just wasn't hitting my, like, love for movies. I go to movies for entertainment. I go to movies to feel something. And there were barely any scenes in First Man that had me feel something. This movie was supposed to be about the first man on the moon. There were some issues with his family. That's really all I remember from the movie. Because the rest of it is this shaky cam that's like all over the place, and you're in a rocket and everything's shaking, and it's okay if you really like the Bourne movies, like Bourne Identity or something like that, and you really want to see a lot of shaky cam and you feel that adrenaline, then that's great. But honestly, when you're in a huge theater with a bunch of people and you're sitting completely still and just camera shaking like this, it's a very hard movie to watch. And the acting, it really, it got up to the level of Drive with how quiet it was. I mean, the dialogue was still more than the movie Drive. And by the way, that's another movie with Ryan Gosling. So just so we can put that all together, it's the only reason I brought it up is because Ryan Gosling's in it and it's a little bit quieter than most of the movies that he's in. So, Drive and First Man both run at a very slow pace. Each one of them escalates to a moment that's exciting. The climax is supposed to be exciting. The climax in this movie, spoiler alert, he gets to the moon. And I don't know where the movie lost its logic here, but I've seen hundreds of things in space, including little kids shows that understand how gravity works, that understand that you have to be floating and jumping, and each step is like huge, like this. But then there's one moment where, you know, you gotta have the story line up to something. So he takes his daughter's like necklace or bracelet thing and he drops it into a crater, and he just drops it like that. And in space, if you drop something, let's say this is the necklace. If you drop something, it would go like. But in this movie, it just goes. How? Oh, I can't see my eyes. How does that happen? Where you're just looking at gravity, and you're thinking, I want to make the most realistic movie where this character goes to space. It's got to be historic. It's got to be the most important thing. Oh, well, we do the one where the guy goes to the moon. The most important story in American history, proving everybody that America did it first. Having that huge American flag up on top of the moon first before everybody else, before we could say that there was any conspiracy. This was all for real. Like, everybody believed it. It was all there. And then what do? Something stupid with Gravity, and not the movie Gravity. I still have yet to actually watch that in full. I liked what I saw so far. I know it's taken a while, but the good news is this camera actually lets me record, so I can actually speak my mind and say whatever I want to. Plus I'll have music going on in the background. I probably did from the beginning of this video because I can't stand sitting in silence. It just doesn't work for me. Okay, the next worst movie of 2018 is actually really surprising because I was looking forward to this one. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Oh shit, I didn't write it down. Hold on a second. There we are. Okay, so it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. This movie is all about the Wasp. And that would be the counterpart that we had in the first movie. The girl that is under Michael Douglas's character, his daughter, I mean. She's not important to the story when you have a movie called Ant-Man. I get why it's called Ant-Man and the Wasp, but why didn't they just make a side story called The Wasp and have the little moments of Ant-Man like this movie did? There is very few Ant-Man scenes. Most of the time you just see Scott playing around in a house. And as a lot of other critics talked about, it's a really good scene because it's just him goofing around and he's Paul Rudd. It's very funny. He's got great charisma, unlike the other two characters that I was talking about in these other movies. But it's just, I just don't know. I don't know why they wouldn't have a specific title just called The Wasp. Just make it The Wasp. Because the whole movie, like, I'd say like not even 25% is given to Ant-Man. I think that more than 75% is given to the Wasp. And there's no way that you can honestly say this is the Marvel movie that you were looking forward to last year. Of course, you had the other ones that were around there. You had Deadpool 2, you had Black Panther, you had Avengers Infinity War, which is the best of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in my own opinion. I'll be talking about that on another review. Don't worry, it's coming. And this is just something that I gotta say. This movie is barely anything close to what Marvel could do. The franchise is so big right now, they probably just put this as a side project and they said, hey, you know, we should include the story, and then at the end of the movie we'll have something that goes with Infinity War so that everybody feels that dusting away again. Ow! That hurt. And so it was just a disappointment overall. There was nothing to it. I didn't hate the movie. There's some cool action scenes and there's great comedy because Paul Rudd is awesome. The rest of the time it's just this little girl that was like trapped by the bad guy, and she's constantly in pain, and all you do is hear her cry in pain and cry in pain and cry in pain. So let's talk about the good part of the movie. The best part, my favorite part in the movie, is when they're all sitting down and they're about to get interrogated, and Paul Rudd gets a call from his daughter, and it's like a FaceTime. By the way, don't FaceTime right now. Apparently everybody's tracking you. Just kidding. I don't care about that. But Paul Rudd's daughter, she calls him right as he's like tied up. He can't speak to her, and the bad guy answers for him, and it lets him talk to her, just because it has to happen. Like it's a really funny scene. The ringtone that's used is great. It's a very anticlimactic moment. There's a lot of drama and darkness that's around this area at this moment. You know, you're afraid that your main characters that you just got introduced to might be taken away, might be trapped, might be killed, something like that. But then you have this comic relief moment that just shines throughout the movie. That was the only thing that I really remember in it. Unlike the first one that had many moments of great comedy, great cleverness, the animation and the like CGI, was like really well done. Everything was like real looking when it came down to the miniaturized version of the world. And in this one, it was just more of a story of let's get the whole gang together and we'll do something next movie. And it's like, no, I wanted to see something this movie, and I could care less about the invisible woman that thinks that she's always in pain. It's really annoying, and that's all I gotta say. Just an annoying movie. Alright, so Halloween 2018, guys. I had a good time with the movie, unlike a lot of other people. So I can say I don't hate it. But I hate the idea that they take a franchise that is as popular and as frightening, especially the first movie, very stalkerish, very creepy vibes. Even though the gore wasn't as big in the olden days as it is now, it's ridiculous that they couldn't even get close to what the original had, except for when the two main characters were on screen, which would be Jamie Lee Curtis's character, I can't remember her name right now because it's killing me too, and of course Michael Myers. Those were the two characters that when you're watching it, you're like, oh, we're watching Halloween. The rest of the time, I do not care about the kids in this movie. I don't care about her daughter in this movie. I don't care about her daughter's daughter in this movie. I just don't care. It's so stupid. The whole movie should be based on Jamie Lee Curtis and how she's been preparing for this moment to face up against her enemy. And there's supposed to be horror aspects to this movie. This movie is basically like he's just walking around and people just getting murdered left and right, and nobody has any real reaction to it. And I don't want jump scares or anything, but there's nothing like horrifying. It felt like an action movie with a little bit more horror violence. That's basically all this movie was. It was just a major disappointment. I had a fun time because I'm not a big fan of horror, and just like it was really well done with the little bits of comedy that were in there. I'm like, what is going on with horror when it only has comedy? These are known as like one of the most terrifying movies of history. You get It, oh, a scary clown. Everyone's afraid of clowns when you're a kid and stuff like that. And this movie that last year, 2 years ago now, went over that, and they were talking about how it's creepy and evil and everything. But then they had the comedy that just soared through the roof. It was awesome. This movie kind of did that. It was very annoying characters filled with little bits of comedy that were very helpful just to get the pace moving, because the rest of the time you're just like, why did that character do that? Why does this happen? Ow. The twist is so stupid. Every character just makes the worst choice except for, I think her name is Lori. I don't even know anymore. That's how unimportant this movie is. But yeah, if you wanted to see a new Halloween movie, just please wait for another one. This one, I don't even know, because they wanted to take over Halloween 2, and this was the new Halloween 2. So it's the sequel to the first one. So you have to pretend that none of the other good movies exist, and of course the bad ones, which is a blessing. But at the same time, it's just something that could have been done much better, much more horror genre based, and it seemed like a PG-13 with extra violence. It was just so stupid. So that's what I gotta say about Halloween. So my friend gave it to me on Blu-ray, so I'll grab it, just because it's better to talk about something when the audience can see it, like how I'm not talking to the camera and turning around. Yeah, that's always helpful. Solo, just kidding. Solo is a movie based in the Star Wars universe. That's it. That's all that it is. It's supposed to take place before A New Hope, just like Rogue One. So I don't know if you could say it's at the same time, because there's a lot of time elements that wouldn't make any sense at all, including the final spoiler of the movie. But I'm not going to go over that. It's just so dumb, and I have no idea what they were thinking. This movie is definitely a Star Wars story movie, but if this is anything about Han Solo, I don't believe it. There's only 3 things that I can remember that really remind me of Han Solo. 1 is Chewbacca, 2 is the Millennium Falcon, and 3 is the outfits. There you go. It's Han Solo for you. The character that played this, the actor that played this character, I mean, he was okay. He definitely brings nothing close to what Harrison Ford brought to the role. And even though Harrison Ford hated playing the role, even when he hated it, he still showed that he was able to play it perfectly. And this guy probably studied 3 or 4 classes on how to be Han Solo and tried to do his little attitude moments, but there's really nothing to this movie that brought you out of it. Like, oh, that's definitely the Han Solo. That's the guy that we are looking forward to seeing in the future Star Wars movies. Future as in New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and of course Force Awakens. We'll miss him after that. Anyway, it was just a real disappointment when you really can't remember much of a movie. There's some movies that this year that just love trains. This is one of them for some reason. There's an entire train fight scene, and as I was talking about, like the subway, above ground train, CTA L train part of Spider-Man, it was very exciting, and you were like looking at everything, and it was amazing. And this one is like gray background, and they're in the middle of like the Polar Express area, and this train is like electronic and robotics things are like coming down, and they're gonna fight with him, and yeah, it's ridiculous. There's no reason why this one would exist, especially knowing the success of Star Wars. They would have no reason to make another one like this. I hope that they make the best choice on their next Star Wars story. Hopefully like Obi-Wan or something. Whew. One of the best comedies. If you're drunk, I don't get drunk, so I can't possibly like laugh as much as a drunk person could. This movie is a disaster, and it's hilarious. And I don't know why they made another one. I went with my fiance to see it, and we had a great time laughing at supposedly dramatic scenes. There we go. 50 Shades Freed. Why? Why would a movie franchise, especially one as stupid as this one, even attempt to make it try to be exciting with a car chase and I mean they had a helicopter explosion in the other one, but just why do you have to do something to a movie? Don't you realize that if your movie is so bad that you have to add an extra scene where it's exhilarating, exciting, that you shouldn't just scrap the movie. Just scrap it. Don't even let the public see it. Just bring it to DVD. Nobody would have a problem if this shit came out on DVD. When I watched 50 Shades Darker, unfortunately, I couldn't even make it through 15 minutes without mocking the whole thing. there's nothing real story about it. It's just a bunch of shit, and there's like a couple sex scenes that aren't hot and they're not exciting, and you don't feel like, oh, that's who I would want to be with. No, it's just there. These people are just making love. I think that the most like professionally shot sex scene that shouldn't have been in a movie was like The Matrix, almost said Revolutions, it's not Revolutions, Reloaded. And that scene was just so dumb. Everything about the orgy scene, you could say, was just stupid. It had nothing to do with the plot. It was just there because, you know, that's what Hollywood does. If it can't come up with something creative, it focuses on sex. And there you go. So, yeah, I'm not even going to go into it. The movie 50 Shades Freed is terrible. The acting is terrible. The best review I've ever seen of this is from the Armored Media, which is Shoe on Head and Mr. Armored Media himself, and it's so much better. I can't review it right now because I don't have the editing down or the creativity that they do. So please just go watch Armored Media's review on 50 Shades Freed, and actually all of 50 Shades. Just all of that, and also Ralph the Movie Maker, all one word. Type that into YouTube and watch his review of 50 Shades Freed and 50 Shades Darker and 50 Shades of Grey. It's funny, it's well done, and after I get the hang of everything, I can probably go back and review these movies, and maybe my fiance will want to do it with me. Either way, let's go on to the next piece of crap movie. I don't even care about the actual title. I don't care about this movie. I only saw it because it's part of the Harry Potter universe, and that's Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Why? Why do you make a movie? After a movie like Fantastic Beasts, I didn't really like, oh, okay, it was a good ending, like you got excited, and oh, there's Johnny Depp, and oh boy, here comes something to do with the Harry Potter story, but I haven't read any of the books, and even if you have read the books, I believe that what they did on the screen was very forgettable in anyone's perspective. The first one I'm talking about. This one, I don't even know what happened after I got out of the movie. After I watched the whole thing for like 2 hours straight, I'm watching this shit, and I'm just waiting for something exciting to happen, and it does, and it gets a little exciting. There's some cool fire. There's some cool fire effects. There's the horses with bat wings. That was not stolen from Aladdin, Return of Jafar, and it's not based on anything like that. I mean, it's completely original. Yeah. Don't see this movie, and if you do, you probably won't remember it anyway. So that's all I gotta say. Like, I go to movies a lot, and there's always something that could trigger me. But this movie, I walked out and literally asked everybody that I saw it with, and I was like, do you know what happened? I couldn't figure it out. There's like a 15-minute scene. There was some history about another character that we barely care about at all, and it was like all this all at once. It was like, here's what you need to know about this character and what they did, and then everybody's like turning on each other inside this really, really small condensed space while they're trying to hide from the secret cult that's on the premises of whatever. You could say Hogwarts, but Hogwarts is in this movie. That was the best part. Literally the best part was seeing Hogwarts again, being able to get the Harry Potter vibe and see how it used to be and how it was when Dumbledore was younger. It was a really cool scene. That's all you get, movie. Everything else sucks. Just stop making these. Just stop. Or if you do, get a better director, or get better charisma, or get a cast that understands that their characters are exciting, or they have to move somewhere. Once again, I'm not a Harry Potter fan when it comes to reading books. I'm a movie fan. I go and watch movies for entertainment. The first Harry Potter movie, and I saw it as a kid, was awesome. The second one was a little creepy, but as I grew up into it, it was awesome. The third one was awesome. The fourth one was awesome. The fifth one was, I don't even remember. The sixth one was great. The seventh one was okay. And the 7.5 one was pretty good. Pretty good finish, and it was a good climax that they should have had long before that, but you know, they're going by the books, so it's okay. Anyway, that's it. Jurassic World 2. I don't know how this is my second worst movie of the last year. I don't know how anything could be dumber than what they did with this franchise. Like, it's really not geared towards anybody because, I mean, kids might get a lot of excitement out of watching dinosaurs, and it's colorful, and I guess the acting is okay, but the whole plot of this, it makes literally no sense, and there's things that make no sense throughout the movie. I'll spoil a couple scenes. There's a scene where they're running from a volcano that's erupting. Lava is rushing down. This is like Land Before Time with the lava. Like, oh, it's terrifying. And then they shoot over to the next shot, and they're like laying down. The volcano's still exploding behind them, and the lava's rushing down behind them. And they're like laying down with binoculars, watching some army shit happen, and all these dinosaurs that are supposed to be seen as going extinct because they shouldn't be repeating history is the whole message of the movie, end up dying, and you're just watching, and you're like, oh, that's emotional. And then it just becomes something stupid where the main character, Chris Pratt, and the redhead girl that means nothing to me are stuck inside with basically Sue, the dinosaur, the T-Rex, that just did its T-Rex thing in its exact pose from Jurassic World 1 and Jurassic Park and like all the other movies that have a T-Rex in them. It's just very repetitive, and the problem with it is that the movie doesn't make it entertaining. There's no entertainment. The only thing I could do to make myself entertained was laugh, because the movie is so stupid, and the things get dumber, and the characters are stupid, and they get dumber, and the acting is stupid, and it gets dumber, and the side characters are god awful. Just please stop letting guys that don't know anything about these creatures come in and scream at the top of their lungs for an hour and a half, wasting your life away watching this stupid shit. It's just, oh, it's so dumb. The whole movie at the end is taking place in a mansion, a dinosaur mansion. The guy who sold guns in Baby Driver is now selling dinosaurs. It's the same fucking actor. It's the same actor playing the guy who sold guns in Baby Driver is now selling dinosaurs. He's selling shit in every movie. Does this guy do anything else in his career? I swear to God, I'm probably the only one that cares about that. Anyway, there's a giant scene with the dinosaurs like escaping this mansion, and then you find out that the little girl in the movie is a clone of an actual character that used to be in Jurassic Park. It's so stupid. The movie is stupid. There's nothing to it that really brings you real entertainment, excitement, adrenaline rush. You ever seen the first Jurassic Park? Let me grab it for you. This movie is awesome. Awesome. It's made by Steven Spielberg. That usually makes it awesome. Sometimes he's had a little dud here and there. But this movie's great. I saw this way later after it was out. When I was a kid, I didn't get to see much of it at all because I was really into dinosaurs, but I wasn't really into thrill or horror or anything like that. And you guys could say, oh, it's not a horror movie. Trust me, when you're a kid and you see that T-Rex scene, as an adult I could say, that scene is still pretty creepy and really well shot, so that you feel like these characters are actually going to die. That is the kind of adrenaline that you should have in a Jurassic World, Jurassic Park kind of movie. They want to gear it towards kids, that's fine. Make The Land Before Time into a live-action movie. Spielberg's also involved in that project. There's no reason why Jurassic World has to continue, other than to sell toys, to market out to people. And it makes me upset because, you know, this is Universal Studios. This is one of the best theme parks in the world. This is one of the best movie creators in the world. This is the ones that also own The Land Before Time. I'm not even pointing to it. There you go. It's right here. The Land Before Time is a very good, cute little kids thing. It's got singing in it. You can get toys for it. Just push that. Just push it, please. I mean, those movies, they've got like 16 movies. I mean, there's nothing left. Just keep Jurassic Park. Delete all the rest. That's it. It's so good. This movie is amazing, truly amazing, this first one. Anything else after it is it's just wasting time. The Vince Vaughn one is okay. It's way better than the third one. Ellen. Everybody knows that stupid scene. And the first Jurassic World, I don't even remember it. Like, I remember parts of it. I remember characters. But if you ask me what the plot was, I do not remember. This shitty-ass movie, Jurassic World 2, The Fallen Kingdom, is just a mockery of everything that Jurassic Park had in it. And they had those little throwback moments where it's like, there's the van, there's the T-Rex doing his pose, there's this, remember this? Oh, this is great. Oh, we're gonna have this character back. And you start out the movie and it seems like, oh, this could actually go somewhere. And then it just takes a nosedive and it doesn't stop. It just sucks. The movie sucks, man. Just, ugh, it's gross. Anyway. When I was in high school, there was a couple great comedians that I was getting into. You could say great. They were great to me. I enjoyed their energy. I enjoyed their delivery when it came to jokes. I understood where they were coming from. One of them was Dane Cook. This movie has nothing to do with that. One of them was Daniel Tosh. This movie has nothing to do with that. One of them was Jim Gaffigan. This movie has nothing to do with that. This comedian, I don't know what he's doing, because some movies he makes are really funny. Some of them are just ridiculous. Some of them are just annoying. And this one is just fucking terrible. It's terrible. I can't say this is as bad as movie 43. Movie 43 is a drastic worse masterpiece. It's not even a masterpiece. It's a piece of shit. But like Night School, let me give you the plot of this movie, just so you can understand where the character gets his reasoning. The movie starts out, and there's a little kid who's getting bullied, and you feel bad for him, and you see him grow into this adult. I could possibly be wrong. I think I'm probably thinking about 3 other movies right now because it sounds pretty generic. You go to this dinner with Kevin Hart and these other characters, and Kevin Hart has a girl who's high class, and she can't be with anybody who's lower class because she's shallow in his eyes. He has to impress her. And he gets the bill for dinner, and he sees that he won't be able to pay for it. So, because it's a comedy, they chose to use shock comedy moments to make it funny. It's not funny. This is the dumbest thing you've ever heard, right here. The character of Kevin Hart, because he can't pay for anything at the restaurant, this fancy restaurant that he's supposed to be treating his friends to, takes pubes out of his pants and puts them on his food. The next scene that happens, I mean, if you're like a little kid and you find this gross out humor hilarious, then yeah, you're probably going to love this movie and you're probably going to tell all your little kid friends about it. But as an adult, and Kevin Hart, for example, just, you have a career, man. You have so many fans. You've done comedy around the world. You've done a comedy special that made it into cinema. And then you take pubes out of your pants and you put them in your fucking food. Where does this go with your contract of, I want to be a successful celebrity, I want to be a successful comedian. Just really, man, this is so stupid. So you get to this terrible scene after he puts the pubes in the food, where they're arguing that it's either a black man's or a white man's pubes in the food because he claims that he got it from the cook. And it's just, that's the movie right there, guys. If you can't make it through this scene, the movie just repeatedly gets more stupid until you finally finish it off and you think, okay, that was a waste of time, a waste of money, and all of the stars that are in this are a waste of talent. There is nothing about this movie that should be seen as justified. Even the scene where he has the epiphany. Oh, this is the moment where Kevin Hart realizes that he needs to do the right thing and that he needs to follow the rules. Why? Why? Just let the whole thing burn. That's what I say. Let the whole movie burn. It's terrible. I will never, ever, ever watch this movie again. I will watch paint dry before I watch this movie. Guys, thank you for watching. This is Media Man Dan, coming straight to you on YouTube. First video that's actually longer than like a minute. Very, very helpful. Thank you, camera. Thank you, everyone that's watching. I apologize for the foul language. Do not show this video to kids. Thank you. Have a great night.